team of medical experts have certified
I
this.
don't believe medical experts. Then what will you say? I'll say, what if they are wrong? I can take your example only. Chicken's central nervous system, chicken's consciousness is much lesser than humans. I don't like hypothetical discussions in general. We should be grounded in some reality. Otherwise,
So hi Akhil, I'm Shivam. Hope you're doing well.
yes, doing well.
You saw the poster there, right? And what do you have to say about that?
I mean, I totally support you guys, but I feel like for me personally, it is a lot of effort if I had to be vegan today, and I honestly don't have the energy to make that effort right now. But yeah, it's good.
You support us. You said two things. You support us, one, and you don't have the energy to make the effort, right? We'll come to the effort later. First and foremost, what is it that you support?
That like not killing animals, and
And why do you support not killing animals?
I mean, I think that's an obvious answer, right? Like if you feel for other life, then you wouldn't want to kill other animals.
Okay. But you still kill animals.
Yeah, because I feel like if I had to live with a vegan diet, it would be like a lot of effort to get the right food. For me, I just want to I'm not, yeah, don't have that energy to do that right now.
Okay. So, but fundamentally you are agreeing and you said that it's obvious that we should not kill animals, right?
Yeah, I mean, if unnecessarily, yes, you should not. If it is like, if you're hungry, you have nothing to eat and you have to kill, then sometimes that's like, you can't.
That is understandable that if you are hungry, but more importantly, if you have nothing to eat. When there is nothing to eat, that means that we are in a survival situation, and sometimes people eat. There are documented cases where people have eaten dead human beings as well because there was nothing to eat. So it's a survival situation, that's a different thing. But apart from that, if let's say we have an option to consume something which is not derived from animals, should we not choose that?
Yeah, sure.
And then one step ahead, let's say there is a person, there's Akhil.
Yeah.
And Akhil has two options. One option is plant-based food, and the other option is animal-based food, which is coming from exploitation of animals, right? Would you say that it's almost immoral to choose the animal-based option if the plant-based option is available?
Can you repeat that?
Would you say that it's almost immoral to choose the animal-based food if the plant-based food is available?
No, I don't think it's immoral.
Okay.
I think it's people's choice.
Okay. Even if both the options are there.
Yeah.
Okay. And but earlier you said that you support not killing of animals.
Yeah, I support it.
So is that a
It's
person?
immoral.
So not killing someone is a personal choice?
Yeah, it's of course a choice, right?
Killing is a personal choice?
Yeah, it is a choice.
Okay. So it's a choice, of course, but is it a personal choice?
What does that even mean? Every choice is personal, right? What
I
I
mean-
the kind of choice is there?
So essentially, there can be two kinds of choices. For example, the shirt that you chose to wear today, you chose an off-white color, you could have chosen a pink color. That's a personal choice because that choice doesn't involve someone else. When you are crossing boundaries and exploiting someone else's personal space in any which way possible, then that goes against the definition of personal choice. Of course, it's a choice, but you are violating someone else's space as well.
See, here I'll disagree with you because I think every choice, in some sense, affects somebody else.
Okay.
So I can say both the cases that you gave. For example, wearing what shirt? Whatever shirt I wear, that's what everybody's gonna see me in today. So in some sense, it affects everybody else. Maybe not to the same degree.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the key word, not to the same degree. So what is
When you talk about food, if you're killing plants, even that is murder only.
okay, we'll come we'll come to the plants, but before that, talking about this same degree thing, right? Like you are wearing a shirt, people will perceive you in a certain manner. That perception is impacting someone in a certain to a certain degree.
Yeah.
When you made that choice of wearing that shirt, right? But if you go and slap someone randomly, that is also a personal choice, but then the person who's being slapped is impacted to a much higher degree, right? So that's what I was trying to draw the point between what constitutes as a personal choice. Both are your choices, but in one case, someone is impacted adversely, right? And then coming back to the choice of the plant and the animal. So earlier, you said it's a personal choice, but now you see what where I'm trying to get at, right? When we say personal choice, we are saying that we don't want to violate someone else's rights in any which way possible. But now you have made an interesting point that you are saying that either we eat plant or we eat animal, we are still killing. Is that the point that you're trying to make?
That also, I agree with you. That is kind of the point. And also, I think like if the conversation is about violence,
Yeah.
then it's not just about like food. Like I think just living, you commit violence on so many levels anyway.
Yeah.
Like just if you're living in a modern lifestyle, the way you consume things, you are committing lots of like, violence anyway. So this is like one more, I guess. So, and you can kind of like, I feel uh, like the improvement can come in many different ways.
Okay.
And you have to kind of take that step by step.
Before we go into the discussion of how to improve things, let's talk about this violence point first. That just by mere existence, because of our consumption, we are causing some form of violence to someone. Can you give an example how your existence can cause violence to a human being to any degree?
To a human being.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just take like the modern world, right? Like, if you have to get something, somebody else is missing the opportunity to get something.
Yeah.
If you have to make money, it's money that someone else is not making. Oh. If you have to accumulate something, it's if you have to take some opportunity, that's some opportunity someone else is not getting. So it's like in every act there is inherently like some
Exactly.
violence.
So let's take this example. Let's say you want to make money and there is some business, and if you are succeeding there, your competition is losing out, right? And that's kind of a suffering that you are imparting on your competitor, right? And I completely agree with this. And there can be multiple examples, like how other examples you were giving as well. They were also relevant examples. My question is, in the same example, this business example, will it ever be justified for you to kill your competitors, murder your competitors?
No.
So, in one case, you are saying that just by mere existence and trying to live, we are causing some sort of suffering, and then other case also is a kind of suffering.
But the policy here is you are considering animals to be of the same level in some sense, of deserving of the same this thing as humans, which
No, I'm yet
I
to.
kind of I'll appreciate that, but yeah, that's not.
I'm not comparing the two as yet. What I'm trying to get at is you appreciating the fact that there are degrees of violence which are in our control, and then something which is being caused by us just by mere existence, right? So one form is murder, and the other form is just you being competitive in your space, and that's eating into their pocket. So there's a stark difference between the two. One,
It would be in the intention.
intention, okay, good. But so in one case,
Is in the intention.
okay,
But competition is you are not actually intending to harm the other person.
yeah,
It's just that you are going in a certain direction, so somebody gets pushed out of the way.
cool. Yeah, so we'll take that. So yeah, intent becomes very important here, right? Even murder, for that sense, if you kill someone in an act of self-defense, there the intent was not to murder the person, but you are trying to protect yourself. So that's a valid point. Now coming back from there to animals and plants, I'm saying that when we are choosing to consume animals in any which way possible, right? Whether wearing a leather jacket or eating animal flesh, we are consciously inflicting violence on them. When we have the option of not doing so in today's day and age. And earlier you made a point that plants are equal to animals. Like, you genuinely believe that, or you just said it?
No, I didn't say that. I say that if you're eating plants also, that's also,
So you think
you are destroying the plant to eat the plant.
so you think the moral implication of eating animals and eating plants is the same?
No, honestly, I don't believe in morality. I believe in practicality.
Okay. Practical. Okay, so let's talk about the practical implication.
Right.
So when we kill a goat, we know that the goat will suffer. Goat is an emotional being, and they are also sentient being, have a central nervous system. They can feel pain and suffering, right? So killing a goat and let's say plucking an apple from the tree,
It's not the same.
it's not. From practical perspective, also it's not same, right? You're a smart person, you know that plants do not have possess the central nervous system. From a moral standpoint, also there is a difference, and it is, I think, on alignment with practical standpoint as well. So then, if we have the two options, then why would you not choose the option that will not cause a sentient being like a goat or a hen violence?
I think the main thing is that there is the, so the two options are not actually at the same level of ease. So if I wanted to eat meat, it's much more easily available and I can make it easily and I can do this, but I can get it from any shop nearby. It's very easy to get it. But if I have to eat vegan food, I need to make like a special effort to, I don't even know where you would get it easily, maybe online or something. So you have to, get it, and then it becomes like it's another thing where which you have to do.
You have to put in the additional effort. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what like my original thing is.
Yeah.
No, I don't have that
Okay.
energy to do that. I'm
Yeah.
too invested in a lot of things. So I'm like, for now, I'll just keep this aside, let it go on as it goes on.
And just for the sake of clarity, let's say if you have two options and the ease of accessibility for both of them is at same level.
That also has to be there, and the same nutritional value has to.
Let's assume nutritional value.
Sure.
The nutritional value can't be compared between two dishes, but let's say in a day what you are eating, 5 dishes here, 5 dishes here,
Sure.
and you have the same level of ease and you have the same nutritional value.
And same taste also.
Okay, let's put same taste also. Then choosing animal-based product. In that case, do you think it becomes...
Sure. In this hypothetical scenario, yeah, I'll be vegan. But this hypothetical scenario has to become
Of course,
a reality.
Of course, we'll come to that. But I'm just asking. Forget about becoming a vegan. In this situation, do you think consuming animal-based products, in your opinion, becomes ethical or unethical, immoral? What do you think about that?
I think finally it depends on the person and their intention. Like, I think some people will just like eat food without.
No, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you right now. So if
Yeah, for me, yes. In that situation, yes, I would.
you would say that
A vegan only.
because eating animal-based products is unethical because it's causing violence to these animals.
Not because of that. I like veg food also, and sometimes I might eat that animal food also.
Exactly.
I honestly don't like having like set restrictions where I am only going to do this and do this.
exactly because
I feel very, I don't know, I just don't like that concept at all. So even if I would eat like 99% vegan food,
1% you...
yeah, once in a while eating animal food, like I don't see anything.
Yeah, exactly. So exactly. So it's not about ease of accessibility when all the equations laid by you, all the variables laid by you are also equated. Even then, there would be a chance you would choose animal
I would eat it once in a while.
once in a while, right? So that's what I'm trying to get at, right? I'm not trying to tell you that vegan food is accessible, cheap, or nutritionally fulfilling. They can be all of that, but I'm leaving that aside. I'm saying that in one case you will still choose, right? And that is where I'm talking about that. In choosing that, again, don't you think that you are completely responsible for the exploitation of that animal?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And in that case, don't you think that if you are smart enough to recognize that you are causing exploitation to someone which could be avoided, but you are still choosing that out of desire and your probably habit and the way you have been brought up, right? Don't you think that it's important for us to reflect and change if we realize that something is wrong happening with an individual?
Yeah. I mean, I might choose the less exploitative option of like maybe farm grown, free range chicken or something like that.
But that is still...
To completely,
Yeah.
I don't know, I like meat too much.
Yeah, exactly. So that is the crux of it, right? So again, coming back to the, let's say there's a person who has this habit of abusing humans in some way or the other, right? And let's say that person is a compulsive abuser, have been brought up in that way, most likely. And that person also gives a similar argument that I can try to reduce if there are options, like I can get a therapist, but from time to time I'll still participate in it, right? Now I'm asking,
It's equal.
yeah. Now I'm asking you what.
think that's
Yeah, yeah. So
don't consider chicken to be
no,
human.
yeah, yeah. So now I'm coming to this. So why do you think the two situations are different?
Because I can take your example only.
Yeah.
Chicken's central nervous system, chicken's consciousness is much lesser than humans. So I'm okay with that balance on some level.
So that's an interesting point. So when you say, because plant and chickens ke case mein, it's kind of a binary that they don't have a nervous system. They are not sentient beings, right? Animals are sentient beings, humans are sentient beings. But yeah, there is a difference in consciousness in the sense that we are more subjectively aware than probably most animals are. Then a very tough question for you now. Okay. If there is a human who, because of some unfortunate incident, has a lesser degree of consciousness than the rest of us, then in that case, if the abuser says that, okay, I want to abuse this human, using your logic.
No, but this is going in a different direction.
Okay.
So I would ask you, how do you know that person has a lesser degree of consciousness?
So, like, let's say that the team of medical experts have certified this.
I don't believe medical experts. Then what will you say? I'll say, what if they are wrong? See,
Yeah,
you in humans. No, wait. Let me
yeah,
finish me.
yeah.
In humans, you can only observe behavior. Maybe somebody is completely impaired in terms of behavior, like they're in a coma or something.
Yeah.
But you can't really say that they are not conscious. You have no way of proving that, unless if they are completely
By
brain dead.
Yeah, consciousness means subjective awareness, right? So someone can be in a state of coma, or for example, there are many mental health diseases as well where the cognitive ability of a human being is not at par with a neurotypical human being, right? So in that case, does it become just and you don't have to take a practical example. You can just assume that there is a person who has been certified. Maybe you have done your full assessment, or whoever has done the full assessment and has come to a reasonable conclusion that the person's let's say cognitive ability or consciousness level is at a similar level that of an animal.
No, I am saying you cannot determine that.
Let's for the sake of this discussion, let's assume it's determined. We were discussing hypotheticals, right?
I would not agree with that assumption. So, see, if I cannot agree with an assumption, we cannot. Like any point, I cannot make any point, right? Because
No, I'm saying it's a hypothetical. Like if there is a human.
I don't like hypothetical discussions in general.
Okay.
We should be grounded in some reality. Otherwise, we are just like wasting time.
No. Grounded in reality, of course, we discussed like scientifically, animals are sentient beings. That is one reality. Second reality is that you.
Now
as
it's straying away from the point.
No, I'll come to the point. I'm talking about.
The assumption is whether you can determine a person's level of.
I think I'm not a medical expert. I'm assuming neither are you. But then there are doctors who certify that okay, the conscious level of a certain person because of maybe an accident or some other issue has, and this is a fairly reasonable point. Actually, it's a practical point. If we search them, we'll find many such cases, right?
I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this.
So essentially, you are saying it's the difference.
No, I'm saying doctors could be wrong.
They could be wrong, but there could be a case where there's right also, right? I mean, from a perspective of a statistical practicality, you should be more lean towards agreeing that there could be one-off case where this case agrees, right? Where this case is happening. And in that case,
this discussion has gone off tangentially, and we are not making any.
no, I'll just summarize the whole thing. First, you said ease of accessibility. Then, like you chose animals because there's ease of accessibility, right? And then I said that assume that the ease of accessibility is same. Then you put in nutrition. I said, okay, let's assume that. And then you also talked about nutrition value. I said, let's also assume that. And then I asked you that will you be fine quitting animal products completely because you see that as an unethical practice, to which you said no. And the reason you said no now is because they are at a lesser consciousness level than human beings. And then
It's not the main reason. Main reason is because I like eating meat.
yeah, exactly. So essentially, you are imposing your desire on someone else.
Give me a product
Yeah.
which tastes as good as meat,
Yeah.
same nutritional value.
We already said that.
Ease of access.
You still said that you will choose animals sometimes.
Because honestly, I feel like it's because I don't believe that with a vegan product you can get that good, or maybe I have not experienced it.
We assume that, let's say it's there, but you still chose animal on some grade.
Okay, then I misheard your earlier this thing.
So then you assume so if there is such a product, in that case, yeah,
Tastes as good.
taste, nutrition, and ease of accessibility.
Ease of accessibility.
Three variables, right?
Sure.
Then you consider eating animals as unethical.
No, I'm not thinking about that. I honestly don't think about the ethics of action.
But you do think about, like, in case of humans, you did think about it, right?
No, that's because of it's a feeling thing. It's not like a morality thing.
Okay, so what if there is a human being and there is
The human being makes me feel like you have to, kind of like do something negative to him. I won't think about the ethics of it. I would be willing to,
but in our relationship with these animals, they have done nothing wrong to us.
Sure.
So in our discussion also, we are talking about human beings
I
who have
agree
done.
with you. I agree with you. But the question is, where is that product?
No.
Are you making that product?
Products, that's why I'm coming. Product, I'll come. Just don't worry about the product. I've been a vegan for 5 years and I worry about nutritional value a lot. Also about the taste, and I've been doing it for 5 years, so I can say with ease that ease of accessibility is not an issue, right? And I don't spend more than I used to spend. So I am aware how to go vegan. I'm focusing more on why to go vegan. Because the why is not sorted, the how will never.
So I agree with you.
No.
I think we have reached agreement that if it tastes as good,
Yeah.
if it's as easily accessible, and if the nutritional value is same,
Then it's unethical to eat an animal.
no, I will take your choice. I don't want to go into the ethics, but I would choose the vegan option. No issue with that.
Why would you choose the vegan option? If everything is same, why then you can still choose the animal product, right?
Because I don't want to harm the animal.
Why do you not want to harm the animal?
I feel it's obvious. Like,
No, it's not obvious.
harm something unnecessarily, you won't harm it.
Yeah, but like, what is that feeling that's telling you that you don't want to harm them?
That is the natural feeling of every.
Not really, right? Because in today's day and age, there are people who are vegan. They are the traditional Indian plant. Like when we talk about vegan products, we talk about replacement straight up, right? But the traditional Indian plant-based food can take care of our nutritional requirement.
I don't think so.
Do you look at?
The traditional Indian diet is very carb heavy.
Of course, you'll have to. You'll have to.
And it's
You'll have to mix and match your combinations to get it right. For example, I consume 1800 calories. I hit 130 grams of protein daily, right? And I've been doing it for 5 years, and I know so many people who have been doing it with such an ease, right? Ultimately, like you also said certain times in the conversation, it's about desire, the taste, right? And taste is one acquired, second is subjective, and thirdly, taste is a desire. And then we are saying that I am choosing violence because of my desire. Don't you think that's a very dangerous statement to make?
No, I don't think most people choose it. It's just easy, so you do it without thinking about it. See, you have thought about it a lot, and you have turned vegan.
And you are now.
But most people have not thought about it.
Yeah, but now you as an individual, because of our 15-20 minutes of conversation, you have also had the privilege of thinking about it. And now,
Right.
do you think?
No, I would have agreed with you even before this conversation. But it's just ease. It's ease and nutrition. If I have to get the same nutrition from vegan food, I have to spend more energy and effort in my life, which I currently don't have the bandwidth to do that.
For nutrition, we don't really need to spend more time, right? Like, it's very.
Time to source it, and it's like
Source what?
to food. Like if it's chicken or something, I can go and get it easily.
You can get soya bean easily.
Like soybean, it tastes shit.
Ultimately, it's coming down to the taste, right? We can, of course, make taste better, but ultimately, it's coming down to the taste, right?
Different factors in different cases. So if I have to get tasty vegan food now, it's like I have to make extra effort than not getting soya bean.
So my like the simplest question is: do you think desire justifies exploitation?
I honestly don't care. Like, I am not thinking about morality. Like, if you start thinking about morality, you will drive yourself nuts by seeing what people are doing all over the world.
Okay.
So, I don't think about it. Like, if you have the desire and you want to exploit something to do it, you do that, and the consequences on you. Like,
Yeah. So don't you think like the humans who justify who exploits other humans use the same rationale that they don't want to think about their actions and hence they are exploiting?
I don't know. I do not know what other people
I mean, it's one of the most. I mean,
live like.
essentially, it's one of the most common uh, carnal instinct to fulfill our desire and hence exploit, right?
Sure.
So that's coming from a similar rationale, don't you think? That person one has a desire,
Sure, agreed.
person two, because of the social hierarchy, can't defend himself herself against person one, and person one is exploiting person two because of their desire.
Sure, agreed.
So in that case, because would you ever want to be that victim?
What is he trying to go to?
No.
No, of course not.
This is the obvious answer. Like no, right? We would never want to be victim, and we would want the other person to think from the victim's perspective.
See, I honestly feel like if you live in this mode of thinking about the morality of action, that's all you'll do in your life.
Not really, right?
Because
Not really. Like we don't have to get into a hyper philosophical mode. It's a very simple thing not to choose actions which will murder, exploit, enslave anyone. It's a very simple choice.
Sure.
Right? You would choose like you will not have to think to not to exploit. I'm assuming I'm 100% sure that you are a decent being, that you will not go and exploit other humans here, right? In doing so, you're not driven crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's coming to you naturally because you think from the other's perspective that you don't want to cause pain and suffering to someone else.
Sure.
So why should we not extend the same thing to the animals?
Because it's a lot of effort. That's what it comes to in the end.
Okay, but if the efforts are equated,
Effort is not just in sourcing the food, the effort is in changing your patterns of
I
behavior.
think that is the main point. Sourcing the food is not an effort because, like I said, I've been staying in Bangalore and I also travel to my village in Uttar Pradesh sometimes. And over there also I can conveniently stay vegan on a plant-based diet, that is, right? I just have to think from the victim's perspective, right? And I can get my protein. Sometimes I might have to compromise on my taste. I'll be very honest with you. Like in Bangalore, the taste is easily available. But I think it makes me an immoral person that if for the sake of taste, I'm choosing to murder someone.
I appreciate the way you are.
Yeah. Like,
That's all.
like what would you say to a hen? Let's say this is the goat, right? This is the goat. And let's say you consume biryani and you know that this goat is going to be killed, right? And you
Sorry and thank you for being my biryani.
and then the question is, what do you have to say people who do the same to humans and have similar levels of attitude? What do you think about those people?
They are worse because the value of human is greater than value of goat.
On what grounds?
I think that is obvious, which I don't need to explain to anybody.
No, actually, it's not obvious because then there is a certain human being who can say that what is the word you use? Valley, right?
Value.
Value. So there is a certain human being who can say that a value of a human being with my skin color is greater than the value of the other human with this skin color.
No.
That
It's not the same.
I'm not saying it's same or not. I'm saying people have used this rationale
Right.
to inflict violence on other human beings. Value of my caste is greater than that of the value of the other person's caste. Caste is hypothetical. Value of my skin color, value of my nationality, value of my sex, value of my sexual orientation. And that people have been drawing these arbitrary lines,
Yeah.
right? And you said they are not on the same level. I would argue that racism is pretty much on the similar level, because the difference in racism is also biological in nature. Skin color is essentially the difference in pigmentation in our skin, right? And difference between us and an animal is also biological in nature. I think the common denominator is sentience, that it doesn't matter how different we are. What's important is in our capacity to feel pain and suffering. Are we similar? You don't want to be killed by another human being, exploited by another human being, raped by another human being. Likewise, because you will suffer in a similar manner, that animal also suffers.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with a lot of your points. But yeah.
Now completely off topic, just food for your thought, right? Imagine this was happening in, let's say, 1600, 1500, whenever slavery was dominant, right? And let's say I'm an anti-racism activist talking to a white person.
Yeah.
And if that would have been recorded like this, how do you think that conversation would have panned out? Like a white person,
Maybe similar lines, like generally when you challenge people, like they will feel like the response is to defend your opinion.
and in this case, it's not just
To do is kind of, you have to think about what the other person is also saying and reflect.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a kind of a mutual conversation which is beneficial.
And it becomes difficult because we are in a position of privilege. A fairer skinned person during the time of racism was in a position of privilege because they could get cheap labor to their whims and fancies, right? Likewise, we are in a position of privilege with these animals because they cannot offer organized resistance, right? And all I want you to think, and I'm not saying, earlier you said that humans and animals are different. I know we are different. For that matter, two humans are different, right? Your IQ, your intelligence, your perception can be much higher than that of mine, right? And you can then say, hey, this person is of lesser value. I can use him to my advantage, right? You would not say that, right? Because you are still thinking from the perspective of the victim. And all I request you today is to think from the victim's perspective, right? And couple of times you talked about how to go vegan, essentially like getting nutritional value, ease of access and all of that. So we have a big community of vegans in Bangalore, in Kerala as well. What I'll do is I'll share some resource cards with you and you can get in touch with them, see how people are doing, right? There are people from different walks of life. Generally, I don't care about taste because I stick to the health aspect of things. My friend behind the camera, he is only worried about the taste, right? So he just wants to eat tasty food and we are both managing, right?
I'll ask him where he gets the tasty vegan food.
Yeah, of course. All I'm saying is that don't think that vegans are unique in any way. There are people from different walks of life. They are unhealthy vegans. They are healthy vegans. They are elite level athletes vegan. They are broke vegans. Veganism is not only for the elite, which is a misconception because of avocados and all of this nonsensical stuff. They are broke vegans. They are middle class vegans. They are also elite vegans. They are vegans who are staying in the rural part of the country. They are vegans who are staying in urban cities like Bangalore and Mumbai. So vegans are not unique. They are vegans who are the only common denominator is that they think from the victim's perspective, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I hope this was a decent conversation.
Yeah, definitely a good conversation, and yeah, I will explore this further.
Please do that. That's the humble truth. Like I'm not an egomaniac thinking that I'll change you or I'll challenge you in this very conversation itself. The objective of this conversation is to make you think further, right? While at a first glance, at a first thought, you may think that, okay, these are absurd comparisons, but then the nature of the oppressor and the oppressed has remained same in almost in all the social justice movements. And I'll end the conversation by defining veganism. Unlike what most people think, veganism is not a diet. It's a social justice movement to end animal exploitation, right? And in today's day and age, it's very easy to do. And I'll share cards with you on how to go vegan, right? Thank you so much for your time. Yeah. And I hope you're doing well. Okay. I hope ये वीडियो आपको पसंद आया हो. Thanks to all our supporters जो इस चैनल को सपोर्ट करते हैं. And इस वीडियो से संबंधित कोई पॉइंट है जो आप भी मेरे साथ शेयर करना चाहते हैं, then please let me know in the comment section. And until we meet again, this is Shivam signing out. Namaste.